Where everybody is? Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I'm sure my co-host will definitely hop on with us here shortly. Of course, I am not in my normal space, so please forgive me for my any technical difficulties that I may see or we may experience. So, outside of that, again, definitely want to welcome you all to the Roundtable Talk Show. Um, I guess I'll give a little second for my co-host to hop on. But in the meantime, look out. There she is. That's one.
Good evening.
Good evening, Queen.
How are you?
Man, I'm tired. I'm not gonna lie. I feel a little jet lag.
It's okay. God got you, baby.
Correct.
Yes. Let's build this community, right?
Yes, indeed, Queen. Yes, indeed. It is mandatory.
So ready.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're a minute and 45, 47, 49, 50 seconds into the show. And like I said, family, welcome to the Roundtable Talk Show. I am your host, Christopher Jones. And tonight, we are not, hear me and hear me well. We are not just talking politics on tonight. I do want you to know we have levels, we got layers, and sometimes you got to peel that back. And so we've been peeling back for 37 episodes full. So I think we're exposing our rings at this particular point. You know what I'm saying, Queen?
Mm. Get ready.
Mm. Absolutely. So on this evening, and I have my notes over here, so if I'm looking over there, please forgive me. I'm still talking to y'all. Um we're opening a case file in the courts of heaven on this evening. So if you have not been made aware, pull up a chair and please usher in the Holy Spirit. You understand? Because if the veil is truly torn or broken, um, especially like the episode topic suggests, then you know more than likely, um, we're not going to quote some things. Actually, we're not going to quote some things from our grandmother's King James version. So um that there is nothing that's happening right now is just politics. I want every one of you to know that what we are experiencing here in our country and even further than that, right? Is spiritual warfare. And so that's one of the things that we definitely wanted to expose on this evening. We're watching government sign bills and budgets, banks move money and debt, churches and media houses preach, post, and spin. But underneath all that paperwork and production, there are spirits speaking underneath the policies. Um, there are covenants that that are being agreed to, and most of the times individuals don't even realize we're agreeing to them. Right? Some of us been tricked into signing with our silence or signing with our fear, signing with our shame, signing with our fatigue, and signing up with our disconnect. And of course, I just definitely want each and every one of you to understand that there is a place that each and every one of us have to play in every facet of what we know as the globe we live on. And so, in that space, I just want you to know that we hear you. We hear you say, I'm tired, I can't fight it, I know it's wrong, but this is just how it works. I don't want to lose my job, but my status, Chris, wait, my seat, little brother, my little bit of comfort. Well, this evening, we're going to pull you out of that comfort. From the Ethiopian-scribes lens, though, not the edited for the Empire version. You understand that? But the raw, uncut word that refuses to bow to Caesar and or Mammon. I called you out. I called you out. We're asking tonight what is being revealed about this nation and in this particular moment. What judgments are already in motion? Not future tense, but current tense, present tense, right now tense, right? And what remnant work must black, brown, and poor indigenous and clear seeing, right? Clear understanding, clear driven people pick up now, not after the election, not after the next tragedy, but right now. Every segment that we're going to talk on tonight is definitely going to move through four dimensions. The conflict, as always, we're going to identify what's clashing in the seen and the unseen. The causes, what idols, habits, and agreements opens the door for the things that we are seeing currently. The consequences, what's already showing up in our bodies, in our minds, in our institutions, and in our streets. The cure, of course, not fantasy rescue, but specific disciplines and actions our communities can take right now. These, again, is something that we want you to engage in this evening. This is not a feel good show, y'all. I just definitely want y'all to know I toiled with this one. This is a diagnostic scan of the empire and of us. Call it an X-ray, if you will. We'll be pulling off shame. We'll be ripping out rot. We're confirming confessions to where it belongs, right? Under our feet, not on our heads, or in our hearts. We're turning fear into clarity, right? Disparity
Mhm,
into assignment,
mhm.
scattered pain into organized power. That's what we're doing on this evening. So let's get to it. And as you know, like always, I never sit at this table by myself. I love my co-hosts. I enjoy the energy that they bring. And of course, I got my big sister with me, Dr. Catherine Campbell, aka Dr. Beauty. Say hello to the people.
Good evening, everybody.
Absolutely, Queen. Thank God for Miss Campbell. Thank God for Dr. Campbell being back in
Amen.
big money,
Yes.
recovering as
Amen.
as usual, and getting back to her regular self. I love the energy that I'm feeling on your excitement just being home. So as soon as I get back in town, you know I'm coming.
Okay.
Absolutely. She's the one who will open up the language, the visuals, the body of the story like a surgeon and show you what really is underneath the makeup. We see through all that Maybelline. I want you to understand, and she do. She understands the spin and the Sunday clothes because she's a
I
PK
wait
like
for
me.
it. I wait for it.
Yes, indeed. Of course, I got my big brother Perry Busby, who may tip in. He's the author, researcher, and data hound on this particular show. He's going to bring the numbers, the maps, the patterns, and definitely, I want you to know when Perry starts lining up dots, you see this is not a coincidence. This is by design.
Mhm.
And my little brother Dustin Harris may tip in. He is the my battle buddy, also military veteran, independent thinker, and the make it plain specialist. He's the here to definitely translate all of this into everyday language so nobody has to leave this episode or any episode for that matter feeling lost or like they don't know what to do next. Um, and of course, if you ever want to be on the Roundtable Talk Show, reach out to me and I'll definitely slide you in.
Welcome.
Absolutely. As I stated, this is episode 38. The veil has torn. Reading the signs, rebuilding the community. Let's start where the loudest lives live at the national level. Um, and on that note, our title for this particular segment, I mean, y'all can get mad at me. I don't even care. Um, take that up with the Most High. Segment one for our national topic: false prophets of a failing empire. When the loudest voices sound anointed, but serves the beast. On the national level, I want to strip away the politics and the polite language. Right? I'm not gonna cuss, Dr. Campbell.
Amen.
But I definitely want to call it what it is. We are surrounded by false prophets and paid narrators. And these narrators just so happen to be in pulpits, on cable news, on streaming shows like on YouTube, TikTok, and other. Um, and they're on these political stages that many of us have checked out from. And yes, in black spaces, white spaces, brown spaces, all across the board. They're there. And they wear your skin tone. I just want you to know. Um, Spiritual perversion has no respecter of persons. He worse than the Holy Ghost. The conflict, what we're digging in into this segment is we've got a nation saturated with voices claiming truth, right? But very few are bearing fruit of truth. You hear God bless America shouted all over the place from individuals that we look like, wait, what? Who? Especially when bombs drop on people we've never met, ain't never had a chance to negotiate or talk, right? Come, let's reason together. I think that's what I heard. I heard him say that. But cages holding people whose only crime was running from danger or a threat. Um, Budget cuts that slice food, housing, and health care from the poorest citizens. We see prayer breakfasts lined up with war makers, prison investors, and polluters. We watch pastors, bishops, televangelists, and online prophets wrap empire in Bible verses like Rome was the choir. And if we study to show ourselves approved, we'll find out that the script is in Ethiopia. And the Roman one, that's not the script of the truth. That's the script of divination, the counterfeit one. I told y'all, I hope y'all not offended. It predicts, it stirs emotion, it flatters crowds, but it never sets anybody free. The cause. This didn't start with one bad election or one individual you assumed was the best for you, right? I heard them ask God for a king, queen. man, man, this is what we want you to know. We've been disciplined in idolatry. Shake your head, yes. Raise your hands and receive it. We've been trained to worship platforms instead of presence, trained to follow personalities instead of principles, trained to confuse charisma with character, influence with integrity. And some churches and movements, black and white, and others, traded prophetic courage for of a set scheduled meeting so that they could just have a seat at the table. They're not bringing anything forward. They just want a seat at the table. They just want a photo op. They just want a contract. They just want a tax break. The favors of the politicians. That's all they want. They don't want
Mhm.
nothing else. They don't want nothing else. So instead of crying out against injustices, they cry out for access. While whole communities stopped practicing um, spiritual discernment, know the fruit by the fruit. We've stopped testing every spirit, every word, every move of God against the character of the Most High, which is justice. Have you dabbled in some justice today? Mercy. Have you rendered a bit of mercy today? Truth. Have you told some truths today? Or have you even cared for the least of these or us? Because those are the instructions given by the Most High. As long as it's made us feel good, feel important, feel covered, we said amen. 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 And the whole time you ain't heard nothing that was said. You amening to be taken out to the back and hung by your neck. The consequences that we're going to identify in this particular segment is now that we're living in thick confusion that feels spiritual, I just want y'all to know most of it is not. Some of it is practical. Some of the things that we're seeing is the act thereof or the cause thereof, right? It has nothing to do with prophecy. That's policy. Know the difference. Um, People are sitting under sermons, podcasts, and political speeches that sound holy, but leave them feeling helpless, hopeless, numb, dependent, more loyal to a party or a pastor or an edifice than the Most High and their own people or His people. He told y'all whole denominations, whole Christian networks, whole media ecosystems have become chaplains to empire. Do I need to recollect who empire is? Okay, as long as y'all know who empire is. And they do these things um, by blessing injustice. Have you heard that before? Blessing injustice. I'll break that. We're gonna break that down a little bit. Silencing whistleblowers, people that raise the alarm, demonizing the poor, the immigrant, the queer, especially the queer kid, the protester, the prisoner, while giving endless benefit of the doubt to power. Oh, you all right? You all right? He's all right. He's going through some things. And a generation is walking away from everything labeled church or faith, not because God failed them. I want you to know
Oh, no,
He
no,
does
no,
not
no.
fail. He cannot fail. That's not even in his, that's not even in our DNA makeup.
The word don't
I just
change.
want y'all to know that. They label church um again, they distance themselves from elders even, not because God failed, but because counterfeiters, gatekeepers, liars use God's name to endorse evil acts. And y'all don't think these young folks see that? Y'all don't think these young people see that? They see that. They know that. They can identify. The cure, of course, for this particular segment, y'all, the veil being torn means we don't get to play dumb anymore. So don't say, oh, I didn't know it, because you knew it. And it ain't just gonna be us that's gonna tell you. It's gonna come back again. Watch, you gonna see this again. You gonna see this again. Somebody gonna say this again. So we ask every voice, does this message bring freedom or bondage? Especially when we go back to the ancient text of by their fruits you shall know them. Does this message bring freedom or bondage? Does it stir love for my neighbor or content? Does it comfort the afflicted or afflict the comfortable, or the other way around? If a voice keeps you locked in fear, shame, hatred, and dependency, I don't care how many scriptures they quote, that voice is not aligned with the spirit of truth. We build what I call discernment circles, aka homeschool prayer circles. That's what that is. I just gave it a fancy name for today. Discernment circles. Because I know many of y'all dissociate yourselves from things like engagement, especially family engagement on a spiritual level. If um we build what if we build these circles and small groups, not fan clubs, that sit with headlines, sermons, viral clips, and they run them through. Um, I mean, like through and through. Everybody get a little piece, right? Scriptures include the parts empire tried to bury, our history, which empire tries and is trying currently to bury, our lived experiences on the ground, which the empire is still trying to bury. We also practice turning down the volume, seasons of media fasting, right? Seasons of pulling back from personalities, not to disconnect from reality, but to hear clearly from the Most High and from one another. I can't hear you for the noise that we are in. So we're gonna seclude ourselves to the courts of heaven. The courts of heaven are not impressed with our brand loyalty. I said that right, brand loyalty. Heaven is watching what we agree with, and some agreements need to be broken, 100% eradicated. Just
Come on
put it in
now.
the coffin. Put it in the coffin. Our power shots for the national segment. And of course, I'm going to be leaning on you, Dr. Campbell.
I got you.
I already know you got me, Queen. We're going to be drunk over here. I'm telling you. Off the Holy Ghost. Oh man. Oh wait. Let me throw a disclaimer out here. So I am a PK, which stands for preacher's kid. And Dr. Campbell is a PK, which stands for preacher's kid or pastor's kid. And Perry Busby is a PK, which of course you know stands for a PK. I'm not sure if Dustin is a PK, but I do know the family is definitely heavy in the spiritual relationship with the Most High.
Rooted and grounded.
You understand that? So let's open this national case file up at the table. Dr. Campbell, when you put your surgeon's ear to the voices, pulpit, podcasts, and press conferences, what are the phrases, patterns, or little tricks that expose a false prophet or a paid narrator, no matter what title they carry?
Great question.
Thank you. My
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah. And I love the metaphor of a surgeon's ear because you know I'm gonna break it down, right?
Correct.
It suggests precision, discernment, what you just talked about, and cutting away the noise
Uh-huh.
to expose what's disease beneath the surfaces.
Right.
Across pulpits, podcasts, and press conferences, false prophets often reveal themselves through recurring linguistic and rhetorical patterns.
Mm.
Here are some of the telltale signs. The diagnostic phrases and patterns is like grandiosity without grounding, constant use of absolute language like always, never, everyone knows, and the only way. inflated claims of authority. I alone can fix this. No one else understands but me. Vagueness as profundity. Phrases that sound deep but collapse under scrutiny. We must embrace the future. Change is inevitable. Truth is what you feel.
Yes.
Reliance on slogans instead of substances. Fear is fuel. Reputation, repeated invocation of existential threats. They're coming for your children. If we don't act now, it's over.
Facts.
They create urgency that bypass critical thought, us versus them framing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, drawing sharp boundaries, the righteous versus the corrupt, real
Mm-hmm.
patriots versus traitors, demonizing dissent as betrayal rather than engaging with critique. They shift the goalposts when challenged, redefining terms or moving standards. That's not what I meant. You misunderstood. Oh, it's symbolic. Yeah,
Hmm.
right.
Hmm.
Appeals to secret knowledge, claiming
Mm-hmm.
insider access. I've seen the document. They don't want you to know this. Are positioning themselves as gatekeepers of hidden truth. I'm gonna say it because I know you will. Uh, I'm gonna go on and say it. They say, God told me this for you. Well, why God didn't tell me?
For
He
me.
said the veil was ripped, and we could go directly to Him. He gonna come directly to us
Come
too.
on here, somebody.
They use emotional manipulation. They overuse the overuse of repetition, rhythm, or call and response to stir feeling rather than reason. Turn around and tell your neighbor. Yeah, right. That's what they say. Turn around and tell your neighbor. Ooh.
To somebody.
Girl, catch me. Uh, Stories that bypass evidence but trigger guilt, pride, or outrage. Now, here are the surgical moves that reveal the false prophet. They dodge accountability. Hmm. When pressed for specifics, they pivot anecdotes or
Mm.
attack the questioner or inflate credentials.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
overpromise simplicity. So complex problems reduce to one step solutions. Just pray harder, just deregulate, just trust me. Yeah, right. Borrowed authority, quoting scriptures,
Mm.
science, or statistics out of context to cloak personal opinion in legitimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Performative certainty, speaking with unshakable confidence, even when evidence is thin, certainty becomes the substitute for truth. Mm,
Right.
you
Right.
better watch that.
You better.
So, the surgeon's ear test. When you're listening, ask, does the claim invite verification or does it shut it down?
Yes.
Is the language clarifying reality or obscuring it in fog? Try the spirit by the spirit. The word
By
is
the
going to
spirit.
confirm itself over and over.
Exactly. Every time, Queen.
Does the speaker empower thinkers to think or demand loyalty to themselves?
Hmm.
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 Yeah. Hmm.
Amen, lights.
I just sat through the rhetorical tissue to expose the hidden structures beneath. Okay.
And you did it. You did it. I mean, like the surgeon that you are.
Mm,
Go ahead, Queen, and backdoor Perry shot. So Perry
all
shot
right.
is follow the money and the data for us, of course, when these so-called moral voices line up with certain donors, ad buyers, political lobbies, What do these numbers show us about who they really serve?
All right. So if you follow the money and the data, a clear pattern emerges. The numbers show they're not serving a congregation or an audience, they're serving an algorithm and
Hmm.
a donor list. So you better watch it. Here's what the data reveals. Their outrage suddenly aligns with specific lobbies, funding cycle, or a political group's talking points. hmm That's what their outrage suddenly aligns with.
Hmm.
Their moral message shifts to match what gets the most clicks, shares, and donor dollars, not what's actually true or right.
Right.
They build a brand, not a community.
Hmm.
You're a data point for ads, a subscriber number, or a monthly donor. In short, if the message perfectly tracks with who's paying for the microphone, they're not a prophet, they're a spokesperson. That's it.
Hey, man, you better understand who you listening to.
Okay. Who you yes.
I tell people all the time, be mindful of what people speak over you. If the script tell you that we speak spells, okay,
Mm,
let me put it to you in another way. If the script tells you that we can give life and death and it's in our tongue,
mm. Come on now.
hello,
Come on now.
Kylie, you better be mindful who you let speak over you. And you
Come
better
on
be
now.
mindful of what you receive from people speaking over you.
Mm.
I tell people all the time, Queen, don't speak that over me, especially if I'm in a date scene and I'm accused as a cheater. Don't speak that over me. Please don't speak that over
Please
me.
don't.
Don't speak that over me. Don't speak that spirit over me. I don't like that. So
mm.
you're absolutely correct. Especially when it comes to knowing those individuals, not just what they speak, but knowing who they
The
really are.
fruit they bear.
Yes,
So let's
indeed.
make it plain for folks watching.
Go ahead.
If I'm just trying to survive and scroll, what are three everyday red flags that should make me pause and say, this voice is not for my freedom?
Hmm. Go ahead.
You tell me.
Oh, oh, that's my shot, huh?
Nah, unless you want me to take it.
Oh no. Um, for me, especially especially when it comes to um hearing the the word or hearing
Mm,
the
mm,
words that individuals tend to speak over us,
mhm.
right?
Yeah,
It comes in a way um um it comes in a way that kind of hits you a little bit, right? I remember,
mm,
Queen, like being in a church. I'm not gonna say the church, but the pastor was preaching, and as he was preaching, um i I got seriously sleepy, like, and some people will probably be like, well, duh, that's church. But no, I got seriously sleepy, and I nodded off as the preacher gave his close. And you know how most black preachers, when they close, they give it, baby, they give it. You know how it is, Queen. I know you
this
all
ain't
right.
this ain't just about the church, but I understand what you're talking about. Yes.
Right,
Because
right.
we're talking about people on all different platforms. I get
Exactly.
it.
Let me get
So
this
so
one out.
when their message leaves you feeling angry, I think
Hmm.
that's where you're going because I hear it in your voice, or feeling
No.
feeling
So
some
wait,
type of
I was left
anxiety or something.
confused. I was left confused. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I
yeah.
nodded off. I nodded off, and when I woke back up, I want to say it wasn't even a full nap, Queen. I didn't. It was like narcolepsy, and I woke up, and pastor throw threw his coat over his arm and stepped off the side of the pulpit, not the steps. He didn't walk down and walk smooth out the front of church. And
Mm.
I was confused to a
Confused.
point to where my spirit was vexed. That's where
Yeah,
that came from.
I
And I
get it.
mean, it was up for me. It was like, well, wait, what was he? Because what he was talking about, obviously, after the sermon, Queen, it was at his close. I heard the sermon, I witnessed to the sermon, but it's like the this voice is not for my freedom got turned off.
Right, right.
It didn't even register, right?
In-
I,
Instead of clarity and peace, you felt anxious
yes. And then I had to
and
go to
confused.
yes,
Yeah.
I had to go to that individual and ask them what was going on? You know, why did all this happen? Can you
Mm.
explain to especially a younger person like myself, right? Nothing. I got
Oh
nothing.
no. Oh no.
But continued confusion until I was able to identify that within the scripture myself, right?
Mm, mm,
Same
mm.
goes for like elementary or middle school teachers I've worked with, and I've heard them uh, bash the child or bash the child's parent. Hey, 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 hey! You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna speak these words or or voice your opinion over someone's individual freedoms. You're not gonna do that.
Mm.
And
Certainly
when I
not to a child.
especially not to a child in my presence. Now you could do it to a child if I'm not there, but don't let them come back and tell me that you did it because there's some issues there. There's gonna be some problems there. There's gonna be some
Mm.
you're gonna have to see me, fam. And most people know, especially young age, most people know what you gonna have to see me mean. You're gonna have to see me, fam. So um but um it's like it's always a punch down, right? It's like if the target is always the poor, if the target is always the m- marginalized community, or the foreigner, the protester, but never the mayor, the governor, the president, the CEO, the investors, right? Um, that voice ain't for you. That's obviously not for your freedom. That's not the individual that you should be banking on rendering you free.
You know what? I've never been a part of a gang, but just watching the shows on TV, of course, they always say that the person that's the head of the gang, to get the people to join the gang, they tell the people, I'm here for you, your family not.
Right,
So I'm your new family.
right.
The gang. We're your family now, and we gonna jump together, and that's what gets a lot of our boys into trouble.
Hmm.
Because they're told to distrust everybody else.
Yeah.
They constantly say that other sources or leaders or even their family are lying to them.
Hmm.
And then they isolate you to make you think that they're your only truth, and it's not the truth.
Exactly. That's just like how they demand loyalty
Right.
but never show you receipts
Mm,
it's never reciprocal, right? Especially
right.
coming from a younger person's perspective.
Right.
um
Right.
you want to make demands to me but not give me at least the opportunity to make my own decisions or make my own mess ups. I'm still a
So they're
child.
actually going. They're actually going for the control of you and your
Right,
mind.
right.
Yeah.
Just like you said, if they say trust me, don't research, just show, just vote, just show up. How many times we didn't heard that?
Mm.
Uh, 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 oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just put that down. Just put that down right there. But they never show budgets.
Yeah. That's
They
not.
never
That's
show who funds them. Never admit when they're wrong. That's control. That's not care. That's
Exactly.
control.
That is not a transformation. That's a transaction. All day
100%.
long.
And
All day long.
I'm sorry, I'm priceless. So
Huh.
you gonna that's residuals.
Okay. That's all I'm saying.
um, a red flag
So,
if you feel smaller than if you feel smaller after listening to some of these alleged leaders or individuals within our community. If every time you listen and feel more afraid or more confused or more helpless or even more ashamed, uh, and the only answer is stay close to them and stay close. That sounds like grooming.
watch out there now.
You better watch out. That sounds like grooming. That's a that's a that's a red flag with no
So,
stripes, no stars, no blue, no nothing. That's a big red flag, and a voice that's allegedly for your freedom will challenge you, but it will also equip you. They will equip you. You will always walk away feeling clearer and more grounded, not hollowed out or drained. So yeah, those are some of the red flags that I've identified.
from a courts of heaven perspective, are you ready?
Uh-huh.
What happens when a people keep agreeing with voices that bless their oppressors? What does it look like to repent from agreement, not just from actions?
in the courts of heaven, in the courts of heaven frame or space, um, agreement is everything. Agreement is it's that's everything. When a people repeatedly say amen to voices that justify their exploitation, they're basically signing their name under a lie. 100%. Heaven records that agreement. Not just the church, not just the church secretary, not just the pastor. Heaven records that agreement. You made a verbal agreement and it's on record in the courts of heaven. And the adversary uses it as legal grounds to do
Mhm.
whatever he wants. Just like a lawyer, they pull what's called discovery, right? And in that process, they can find out whatever they want to find out about you. It's based on your attorney whether or not it's permissible in this case. So they consented, they acted like this story was completely about themselves. They allowed this yoke, if you will. So even when we're angry about what's happening spiritually, we're still under contracts when we're never renounced, that were never renounced. Those contracts carried over from maybe even your great ancestors. And so repentance from agreements look like this. We name the lie out loud. We break the agreement with the idea we are less than what we deserve, um, and that God is on the side of our abusers. That's false. Stop believing that.
Mhm.
We refuse to repeat those narratives in our own mouths or homes.
Mhm.
I just told you this thing called the tongue, it gives life and death to all situations. And so we got to refuse to repeat those narratives in our own homes, in our own spaces, over our own people, right? And then we come into a new agreement, one with truth, one with justice, one with the identity of the Most High, especially if He already spoke it over us. I mean, like, I create you in my likeness and my image.
And I chose
Particularly,
you.
I chose you before you even was in the womb. Before you was even in the womb.
You was not an
Before.
option. You was a choice.
Particularly, that means changing what we co-sign. I ain't talking about. I don't need no co-signer for a car. I don't need no co-signer for no truck. I don't need no co-signer for no house. What we vote for, what we tithe into, what we share online, y'all. Spirituality or spiritually, it means going before God and saying we signed the wrong contract. God, we didn't sign the wrong contract. We were here to, we here to just void the whole contract. Just throw it all in the trash, take my name off of it, remove me from it. And not
And you
only
do
that,
that by changing how you live on the outside. That's how you actually, that's the cure. You change how you live it on the outside.
as well as you confront the individuals that you sided with. You tell them, hey, I'm no longer able to give you or render you myself.
Mhm.
You come out from among them is what it said. That's what it said.
That's what it
Um,
said.
that's what
So
it
the
said.
flashpoint.
Flashpoint. For this particular segment, of course, family, if you would in the chat, wherever you at, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you at, I want to hear from you and I want to hear your truth. Have you ever realized that after the fact, that a voice you trusted was actually working against your freedoms? Drop it in the chat. A one for yes, it was a religious leader. A two for yes, a political or media voice. A three for yes, both of those previously read. Or four, no, not yet. But I'm starting to wonder. If you can safely share, tell us your number and what woke you up. Again, have you ever realized after the fact that a voice you trusted was actually working against your freedom? Drop a one in the chat for yes, it was a religious leader. Drop a two in the chat for yes, it was a political leader or media influencer. Or three, yes, all of the above. Or four, no, not yet. But I'm watching to make sure. Know your rights. On the national level, let me put this in some rights empire. Doesn't want you to remember. They don't want you to know, especially the Western Empire. You have the right to withdraw consent from any voice, religious or political, that demands obedience but refuses accountability. If you cannot ask questions, you cannot give your soul. Y'all better read the script, read the Bible. Um, you have the right to create, publish, and protect your own narrative. Let's say that one more time. You have the right to create, publish, and protect your own narratives. Start the newsletter, the group chat, the live stream, the study circle, the prayer circle. You do not need the empire's permission to tell the truth. You do not need 45, 47's permission to tell the truth. You do not need the Roman Empire's permission. All right, y'all got it. All right, long as y'all got it. You have the right to seek the truth in community. You have the right to seek the truth in community. Questioning is not rebelling against God. Often questioning is obedience to God. Most of us just don't want to. I don't want to upset her. I don't want to upset him. I don't want to. I don't want to. You don't want to go with do what thus said the Lord. Just say that. Roundtable question for this particular for this particular segment. On the national level, um, of course, if false prophets and paid narratives are the real national threat, what does it look like for a community to become prophetically mature, not spooky, not celebrity driven, not cultish, but sober, disciplined, and hard to deceive? Dr. Campbell, you have the floor.
Well, a prophetically mature community isn't spooky, it is sober.
Hmm.
And it looks like three shifts. Number one, they prize character over spectacle. So it's not about your grandiosity, but it's about your character. They ask, do their private actions match their public words? The words tell us we'll know them by the fruit they bear.
Facts.
Miracles or eloquence are less impressive than integrity. Number two, they discern over decades, not dopamine. They're slow. They're slow to hail a new voice and quick to test predictions. They
Yes,
value
indeed.
long-term fruit over flashy moments.
Yes,
Mhm.
indeed. Yes, indeed.
Amen.
Dopamine.
Light. Number three, they care for the local over the viral.
Facts.
Their primary focus is serving the person next to them,
Hmm.
not amplifying online outrage. Real needs ground them. In short, they're hard to sell and impossible to hurt. They're disciplined, together, and their amen is earned, not engineered. And that's what a prophetically mature community looks like.
I totally agree. Could you go back a little bit for me with this dopamine? No, no, just kidding.
I know.
For me, prophetic maturity looks like this, y'all. We stop letting one personality be the whole mouth of God.
Mhm.
Prophetic becomes a community function, not a brand. I want y'all to know we practice real disciplines like consistent study, fasting, quiet, and accountability, not just vibes on viral clips. Oh, girl,
Supporting
let me
each
show
other.
you. Let me show you what I did in church. It's on my Facebook page. It's on my TikTok. We judge every voice by, does it define the vulnerable? Does it confront power when power is wrong? Um, does it call me to courage and repentance, or just to comfort and fandom? A community like that is hard to market to anybody and hard to manipulate, especially those that don't align. That's why this empire is terrified of you knowing, growing, and moving into spirituality. They, they don't want that.
Into
It's
knowing.
all kinds of side tractions, left, right. Oh, we're gonna take your benefits, everything, so that you cannot really grab hold to the spirit as it moves across this space. Pass me not, oh gentle savior. Hmm. On to segment two. Well, actually, before we leave, before we go to the state level, I want a quick closing round. Dr. Campbell, name one lie you watched America believe in our lifetime about race, about safety, wealth, or faith. And then name one discipline that can help people stop falling for that particular lie.
So, one lie we watched America Believe starting in the 1960s and solidifying for decades is the war on drugs as a primary public safety strategy. Yeah. They called it a primary safe public safety strategy, really? Because they were
Yeah.
they were they were making a war on drugs. It framed addiction and street crime as moral failing to be punished with aggressive policing and mass incarceration,
It
rather than
did.
seeing it primarily as a public health, economic, and social problem.
I totally agree.
The
I totally
data
agree.
and the aftermath reveal it devastated specific communities, created a industrial complex, and did little to actually curb drug use or improve safety.
Yes.
So, one discipline to stop falling for it is to follow the data, not just the drama. The discipline is to consistently ask, what do the long term outcomes show? When a tough policy is proposed over a complex problem, don't just react to the fear or the moral headline. Look for the statistics on recidivism,
Mm-hmm.
the cost,
Mm-hmm.
the radical impact, the root causes. Choose to be moved by proven results over potential rhetoric. This habit dismantles the lie by insisting on evidence, not just emotion.
Mm. Get out your
Mhm.
feelings.
Get out your
Get out your
feelings and
feelings.
check out who these privately owned jails are really for.
Right. Right. Get out your
Where's the
feelings
money
and pull
really
out the
going on
facts.
with this war on drugs?
Yes, indeed, Queen. Yes, indeed, Queen. Especially being that we noticed the war on drugs happened in the 80s and they still never mind.
They've been
Ne-
talking about it since the 60s, honey.
Oh wow. See,
I'm just saying.
see. For 80s babies that drop Chicken Club and Dare On. This
Hmm.
this 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 pandemic been going on and still
Mm.
going on. Get
Since the
out.
1960s, yes.
Segment two. Of course, this is our state segment. What we're talking about in this particular segment is contracts and blood, how laws, budgets, and maps become spiritual agreements. Um, when we drop down to the state level, the game gets a little bit quieter, right? But more deadly. That's
More
why. That's
dead.
why it's quiet. Cause they killing more people
Hmm.
on mass levels in mass ways. Most state constitutions, budgets, and district maps read like dry paperwork. Public safety, economic development, school choice, corrections, and infrastructure. But if you lay those documents over our communities, what you will
Mm.
actually see is bondage written down in fine print. That, might I add you, either we voted for or we didn't vote at all and we still got it. How about it?
Mm.
So
Because if you didn't vote at all, you did vote for it.
you
Mm.
vote for it. You asked for that. You asked for
Mm.
that.
And I'm gonna
The
break all that
conflict,
down. Just come on with it.
the conflict, on one side, you've got communities screaming for relief. We need clinics. We need clean water. We need schools that work. We need something for the children to do. We need less police in our faces and more opportunity in our neighborhood. I hear it all. I hear it all. Y'all know I hear it all. Other side, behind closed doors, you got state houses signing prison bed guarantee contracts. Hello, Texas.
Mm.
Hello, Georgia. Hello, Arizona. Multi-decade industrial tax abatements. Hello, ExxonMobil. Hello, what's that over there in Port Arthur? Huntsman, Eastman,
Motiva.
pick one. Motiva, Phillips, pick one. Conoco, Chevron, pick one. Hello. Land leases for pipelines and plants. Not you. Mind you, this your land for something foreign. Make that make sense. Highway routes that cut through black neighborhoods but bend around wealthier ones. Make that make sense. Same stuff we've been hearing about, especially my age, we've been hearing about coming up is some of the same things our elders, seniors, and ancestors had to endure to get us to this point. And it's crazy because all of our elders, seniors, and um, ancestors, especially those that are still living, are saying this looks familiar. Those
Mm.
aren't mistakes, y'all. Those are covenants written in legal language. Again, pull up the language. Open your public, get your public open records requests. Get them. They're available. The government is back open. Y'all remember the causes? We lost ground in a few years and in a few ways. We slept on so-called boring elections, especially the elections that consist of judges, commissioners, and state reps, and regulatory
Mm.
boards. We slept on them. The folks who picked who picked these same maps that they going back and forth in the courts about here in the state of Texas. We picked them people. Whether you voted for that individual's name or not, we picked them people. So there were elected with 8, 12, 15% voter turnout while most of us stayed at home. Legal literacy was snatched from the everyday person. We weren't taught our state constitution in school, obviously, let alone the national constitution in school. And we weren't shown how to read a contract or sign one for that matter, especially if you are in your 20s. Y'all don't know how to signature. Spiritually, we agree with a lie. Nothing's gonna change anyway. So, or this one. They're gonna do what they want to do anyway. You signed that. You gave them the right to do that. You gave them the right, the authority to do that. So, soon as we swallowed that, we stopped even trying to contest what was being written in our name. That's crazy. The consequences now that we're living inside of contracts we never saw or signed ourselves directly, private prisons deals that punishes the state if the beds aren't full. Texas, economic development zones that give companies breaks while residents pay more. School funding, formulas that push money towards some districts that starve others, especially majority minority districts like ours. Hello, Beaumont. Um, Voter district maps that dilute black, brown, and poor power for an entire decade at a time. Texas, this is happening in your state. This is Georgia. This is happening in your state. Peep your game. I promise you, you'll find it is happening in your state. And I didn't say by at the behest of a Republican or a Democrat. I'm just telling you the spirits that's leading your space. So when your local official says our hands are tied, sometimes they're not lying. They're not lying. They're not lying all the time. Sometimes they're not lying. But somebody before them sign the people into a bondage with a pen, a blood pen. These are contracts made in blood because every year they stand, people live and die differently. The cure at this level is not glamorous at all. It's a grind. First, we treat every big state contract, constitutional amendment, and state statute like a spiritual covenant we read, we translate, and we exposed. Second, we build people's legal teams, lawyers, paralegals, jailhouse lawyers, elders who read everything like Dr. Campbell, who youth who can code and even map, uh folks like Perry who can pull the numbers, and folks like Dustin that could break it down to the least common multiple. How about it? Third, we organized across cities and counties. We didn't fight these contracts one by one. We got to fight these contracts one by one, not one neighbor at a time. It cannot be just one neighbor, and it don't have to be all of us. It does not have to be 115,000 people saying the same thing, although that does sound like a heavenly choir. If bondage is being renewed in fine print, freedom has been written in the same space. Y'all ready for y'all power shots for this state segment?
Yeah.
Already. Welcome,
Ready.
Perry Busby.
Good evening. Good evening.
We almost jumped off of y'all.
Huh?
You couldn't what?
I couldn't miss tonight since we tearing bells and having the not not the gender reveal. We just revealed it, right? Okay, I thought this was the gender reveal, but yeah, I couldn't miss this
Not the gender reveal.
one.
Perry, your shot. When you overlay long term state contracts with maps of incarceration, pollution, and poverty, what patterns jump out that prove this isn't random? It's contractual.
As I say, the evidence is in the pudding.
Proof
You
is in the
said,
pudding.
when we begin with, you started out with contracts and what the evidence shows, what the data shows, and what we acknowledge.
Hmm.
Mm,
First is that this is not random.
mm,
It is by design. I know for at least the last 20 years, if not longer, we've been spouting the fact that they were determining prison rates by kids' third grade test scores.
Right. Right.
part of the business plan.
And lo and behold, we see one of the top three biggest employers in the city of Beaumont is the federal prison.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not by design. It the evidence is there. They're using us for guinea pigs in evidence studies.
Mm,
Uh, we wonder why our communities uh, are devalued while we're pushed out, and then all of a sudden that value is now reclaimed, and the people and the indigenous people to that community are no longer accessible to the resources in that community because the resources in that community are now stripped and far
Yeah.
exceed their ability uh, to make use. And so it's not by design. We see it in our schools as our
Hmm.
schools began to close and be combined. It's all a push out, or as they say, it's not surveillance, it's containment. So
Mm.
when we
mm-hmm.
look at this, we might as well look at ourselves like on a long, on one of those long cattle expeditions where we have to move our cattle to a new field. That's essentially what we're doing. They are doing small migrations and plotting in small uh, areas, and then we look at that, and the areas that we are in are now uh, overly populated by environmental companies that further expose out the inequities of this system. I mean,
Yeah.
we're dealing many of our communities now with the health issues that we're dealing with are
Hmm.
not a matter of poor eating, like we want to say.
Right.
It's not
Oh,
those pig feet and pigtails, although that
Right.
may
no,
be
it
a part
ain't.
of it. But let us look at the fact that our communities,
What they put in our community.
unfortunately, they buttress industrial areas.
Mm-hmm.
They coexist in areas where there is heavy manufacturing. We only need look at we say the South End, but we might as well include the avenues and the North End in that, as well as the Pearl Orchard in that, because they all face they the South End may be at the front gate,
Mm-hmm.
but the North End, the avenues, Highland, what is that? The South Park area,
South Park.
Highland
Yeah.
area, yeah, are pretty much on the front line themselves, just not at the front gate. So saying,
Mm-hmm.
well,
Even
that's
the
a South End
college.
problem when you were like 2.3 miles away doesn't really make you immune from that
Facts.
incident. So
Facts.
yeah, this is it's not by happenstance. It's a long term strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we have to do is be as adamant about those numbers that they're getting to tell the story and those numbers that they're using
Mm.
to push their policies. We have to be just as adamant about understanding those numbers. We like
Yes.
to see the number and then post the number and talk about, ooh,
Right.
how bad this number is. We uh during the last election, we posted daily turnout numbers, and the majority of the response was tisk, tisk, tisk. Why are we doing so bad?
Hmm.
When the numbers are a reflection of the work that we need to do.
Right. 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 Dr. Campbell, you ready for your shot?
Which one? Okay, I'm ready.
Wait, not which one. Wait, before we do that, Perry, I wanna I wanna give Dr. Campbell just a little to expound on that, and I got something else to say too on your question. If you don't mind us pouring your shot glass a little bit more.
Post some for the brothers that ain't here.
Dr. Campbell, give us
Well,
give us yeah,
Perry
go
was
ahead.
absolutely right.
Yes.
It shows that the state prison has a 90% occupancy guarantee contract and is built in the rural and poor community.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's a waste incinerator and a chemical plant being permitted in low income zip codes next to
Exactly.
schools, no less,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So the data says long term contracts for prisons and waste facilities and predatory services follow the path of the least political resistance, which is always towards the poor and marginalized, which Perry pointed all that out really, really
Yes.
well, right?
Yes. Very much so.
So the
Very much so.
contract locks in the harm for decades. It is not random. They not just finding a piece of property in this neighborhood. It is a business plan. It's part of the playbook.
100%. 100%. 100%. I think you'll see a prison bed quota, just like I said earlier, sitting right on top of the maps of over police black communities, tax abatements for refineries, like he mentioned, uh, the port,
Problem children in
getting,
schools, like Perry said, starting in third grade.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
they're making
yeah,
sure those heads and beds.
right. Concrete plants, warehouses, all of those particular things are perfectly placed in our communities. Again,
Mhm.
perfectly placed outside of perfect people. So those obviously aren't ours. Highway routes and economic corridors like Irvin Street or Magnolia completely shut down,
Mm.
and individuals trying to figure out why and or how can we rejuvenate those spaces, and we get opposition coming back from those that are in the elected spaces. All of this is locked in for at least 20 to 30, 40 years in some cases, especially if you can't seem to corral your elected that represents you. So when the state says we just responding to crime, or this just where the land was cheapest, the data says otherwise. Perry just told it to us. He
Mhm.
just said it. But what they want us to believe is that the it, with their pattern, that profit has been mathematically tied to our suffering. They don't want you to really know that, but yeah, they'll tell you, "Oh, we got X amount of dollars uh, you know, in surplus," and all the time, like he said, you get more prisoners, more pollution, more displacement, and all of that equals more payout to those particular contracts. That's not random. That's design. Um, Dr. Campbell, you want to handle Dustin shot?
I will.
All right, cool. For Dustin, but Dr. Campbell, most everyday folks don't speak legalese. Most everyday folks, but we can. We can. What's the simplest way that that individuals can start understanding the contracts being signed in their name without getting overwhelmed and giving up, especially by linguistics?
Okay, so is there a new prison, a waste facility, or big development being planned? Let's just suppose there is.
Yes.
So then you find in plain language summary, or find the plain language summary of that plan or the public notice of that plan. Every major contract has one. It's legally required. Know your
Correct.
rights.
No, you're right. No, you're right.
So
Spirit.
then once you
My
check
bad. Go
out
ahead,
those
Queen.
two, huh?
My bad. Go ahead.
Okay. So once you check out those two, uh, well, find one of those two things, the plain language summary or the public notice. You look at it and you say out loud to yourself, okay, who's getting paid? Okay. Follow the company name. Who gets the burden? Look at the address. Look at the map of the income and the rates for that area.
Yes.
Okay. You don't need to read the 200-page legal document. You just need to trace those two lines. The story will reveal itself. And if you lay the money over the map, just like Perry said, start small, stay specific, and follow the money and the map.
Facts.
Okay, it's gonna show you everything.
Everything. Everything.
Hmm And they have
Everything.
to give it to you. It's legally required.
Hmm.
Okay. So again, that's find the plain language summary or the public notice.
Pierre, you got something to add?
No, I agree. And again, these are things we know and we often recite it. We say all the time, follow the money,
Follow the money.
follow the money. But following the money takes time, and I think that's where we end up having the issue. Is we want to know where the money is, but we don't want to take down.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Well,
and that's
a
what the
lot of
system
times too,
counts.
Perry, we don't really know the steps. So that's why I made sure to go back over it again
Right.
to make
Right.
sure that people grab their pen really quick and find that plain language summary and then ask who's getting paid. And then where is this really being laid at?
Hmm.
So that means that area is going to take the burden.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
totally agree. I agree. Like she said, who gets paid, who paying, and who gets hurt if all this goes wrong. That's just from me. That's just from me.
No, not if it
Dr.
goes wrong, if it just goes on, period.
Right, but okay. So like, see. we just saw we just saw the Fed approve carbon capture in Cheek, Texas. Now we're
Mm-hmm.
waiting on Texas, Austin, to approve carbon capture in Cheek, Texas. Now, if it we can obviously see who is gonna hurt,
Right.
but who is it gonna hurt when it goes wrong?
Well, that too.
Now we
So
can't
that's the
just
third
expect,
question then.
right?
Yeah.
Who gonna get who gonna what's gonna happen when it go wrong?
First, we have
Machine.
to acknowledge that it's wrong.
Yeah.
Getting the acknowledgement is one of the hardest pieces.
Especially with some of the individuals that we have in place. Dr. Campbell, you ready for
Right.
your shot?
Absolutely.
Oh, Dr. Campbell, you know you are always the fine print.
That's
Always in the fine print. What are the two phrases people should watch out for in laws, bonds, and ballot language that signal this is a trap? This is a trap. This is a trap. You have the floor.
so the people in Cheeks especially should have looked for
And Diamond D Ranch. Y'all
and
too.
Diamond D
Listen up.
Ranch because it was hidden in the fine print
Yes, it
of
was.
those notices that they send out, that extra tiny writing. You should have took a picture of it with your phone and blew it up because it
Yeah.
had on there the guaranteed minimum occupancy. That's number one. Look for that phrase. What
Hmm.
it means is a promise to keep it a certain percentage full. It turns human beings into quota the state must meet. So now that part is often to a private prison or detention center.
Hmm.
Okay. The second one is going to be non-disparagement or gag clause. And what that means is it legally silences local officials or agencies from speaking negatively about the contractor's service, even if the service is terrible. They
Hmm.
cannot warn you. So the people who you voted for can't tell you that it's bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then indemnification. Indemnification. Okay. Uh and it says indemnification for the contractor. Look for that.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is it's going to hold the contractor harmless for if something goes wrong, like
Anything go wrong.
pollution or a
Mm-hmm.
lawsuit. The
Mm-hmm.
taxpayer, which is the people that own the property there, they pay the cost and the legal bills, not the company that caused the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So the bottom line is these phrases signal a trap where community bears all the risk and the company gets all the guarantee. They're designed to lock you in and lock accountability out,
Exactly.
which means you're going to pay for everything,
You're gonna pay for it all.
all of it.
Ta-da.
Here's
Ta-da.
your gift. Yeah.
What you say? Not
So
here's your gift.
so here's your one, two, and three again.
Mm-hmm.
Guaranteed minimum occupancy, non-disparagement or gag clause,
Mm-hmm.
and indemnification for the contractor. Don't miss it.
Hmm.
It's in the fine print.
Hmm. I totally agree. I ain't heard no rebuttal. Anybody got something else to add to that? I think she covered that area. I think she
Speak
covered
up
that.
there.
Yeah, yeah. Even my notes, I see you covered that.
Bingo. I'm the winner.
My shot for this particular segment. When we see these as covenants, not just contracts, what does righteous resistance look like? How do we renounce an unjust covenant and then move to replace it with something just? Um, Again, like I said, that's a process that you and your God have to take up, but I'll give you some insight, okay? Um, Spiritually, um, Righteous resistance has two sides. Again, that's the spiritual and the structural side. Spiritually, we name the covenant or the promise, that's what a covenant is, for what it is. The deal that trades human dignity for money, power, or convenience. Um, Publicly renounce it in our gatherings, saying things like, we reject this in the name of the Most High. We do not, and I say it again, do not consent to this harm being done in our name. Same goes for when we address city council. Some people address city council today, huh?
Mm.
Ask
Oh
for
boy.
guidance and courage to confront it without becoming what we're fighting. Because if I could remember, and I'm sure the three PKs that's on this on this live tonight can understand that we fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. So structurally, we file challenges, we demand audits, we show up to hearings, city council, county commissioners, Austin sessions or your state sessions, and refuse to accept it, that it's already signed as the final word, even if it is said to be in your constitution, your state constitution, and you can still go to your district attorney and or your city attorney and say, hey, we need to contest this law that's on the state books. I don't care how old it is, you could do it. Um, Draft alternative languages, just like Dr. Campbell said. A lot of people don't know some of the words that come out of my mouth. And I don't want you to be disconnected or disbanded because some of the words that come out of my mouth. I don't want you to be disconnected because some people say, "Oh, you speak so well," because I articulate or I enunciate or pronunciate or have nice voice, diction, tone, and pitch. That's all the things that they taught us from elementary school to senior school. Um, we just have to know that protecting life, land, and water and futures definitely depend on it. We have to know that, especially drafting that alternative language so that individuals will understand and know, hey, we talk about you. Organize until decision makers feel more pressure from the people than they do from the lobbyist. So flip the script. The lobbyist gonna get him money and hold him accountable based on the amount of money that they give. So what we do is they gave you some money, we gonna give you a contract. We're going to give you our this is what our Bill of Rights say. And these are the rules that and regulations that we anticipate or expect from our elected official, especially in this particular space here. These are your duties. And the moment that that individual slides from that, come sit down with the rest of us. We got you on a recall process. Because when we put you in that space, or when we told you that you would be the best fit, we already had um, in the works or in the clause how we can remove you, especially if you don't fulfill the duties that we asked. Renouncing means more than saying we don't like it. Renouncing means telling that woo, woo, Dr. Campbell, telling that some gun, come sit down. That means pulling your agreement back and presenting a different deal for our entire community. And you or they may not be the representative. So come sit down with the rest of us. Segment three, I'm sorry, Flashpoint. This one for the chat if y'all know. Have you ever actually read your city or county charters or home rules or a major state contract that affects your life. Drop a one in the chat for yes more than once. Drop a two in the chat for yes one or two times. Drop a three in the chat for no, but I want to. And drop a four in the chat for no, I don't know. I didn't know I could. Of course, drop your number, your state, and if you're brave, drop one document you wish somebody would help you break down. We do go back through these comments and we definitely respond. So drop your information in the chat, and if you want some clarity on anything in your city charter, state charter, county charter, rules, regulations, hit us up and let us know. Um, know your rights. Let me lay out some state level rights that are yours, whether they want you to know it or not. You have the right to inspect and copy state and local contracts, budgets, ordinances, and charters. These are public records. They belong to the people. You have the right to petition for change, to demand audits, sunset clauses like the sunset review that we have here in the state of Texas. Yeah. Reviews and renegotiations, especially on deals that touch land, water, prisons, hospitals, and most importantly, schools. You have the right to push a ballot initiative that pack public hearings, and you have the ability to file legal challenges when a law or contract violates your human dignity and safety. And I don't know if y'all heard clearly, Cheek, Diamond D Ranch, there are some laws that you might want to consider that may affect you or violate your human rights. Even if the lawyers tell you it's technically legal, you can still challenge it. I promise you. Legal is not the same as righteous. And we have the right, the God given right and responsibility to challenge unjust and unrighteous laws. Roundtable question for this particular segment: if our bondage is being renewed in fine print, what does it look like for communities to become co authors of law, not just subjects of it? Dr. Campbell, you have the floor.
Uh, just subjects of it. Okay. It looks like three shifts. First, you got to learn the language.
Mm
Mhm. It means studying the format of ordinances and contracts, not just reading them. You have to know how the document is built before you can build your own.
hmm. Mm hmm.
Okay. Writing the homework is number two.
Mm hmm.
Instead of just protesting a bad contract, community draft their own community benefits, agreements, or people ordinances first. They walk into the room and say, here's our version. And then they set the terms.
Mm.
And then number three, institutionalizing oversight. It means creating a permanent funded community seat on the review board, not just getting a one time meeting. You bake
Right.
your voice into the process.
Exactly.
Co authorship means you stop just grading their work and start writing the assignment. You move from the audience to the drafting table. You pull your own seat up to the table.
Mm hmm. Mm hmm.
Hmm.
Mm hmm. Pierre,
Yeah.
you have the floor.
I think Dr. Campbell covered that one
I mean, she bust
succinctly.
when I
Uh,
look, bro. When I tell you she busting it this evening.
Yeah,
uh,
I was reading a lot because
I
you
can
know what?
imagine.
I kind of want to go back to the other one, but I'm gonna let it go.
Would you say we're gonna let it slide this time? Perry, you have
No,
the
no,
floor.
but yeah, but I definitely agree. The first step, uh,
Yeah.
it's definitely the key, and that's where our communities now see themselves. Uh, uh, in just making this first step, we've seen it done effectively in communities, uh, where communities have had to, uh, won't say re-educate themselves, but they really had to uh, reclaim
Mm.
Mhm. Mhm.
their communities and go back to, as they say, uh, those old landmarks that brought you.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely, as I was saying last week, we deal so much in self resilience, uh, that saying we're going to be resilient is not the alternative to a plan.
Got to do
Talk is
something.
cheap.
And right, and so we end up doing a survival by any means necessary, then a strategy that we're looking for this strategy that is all perfect, and we
Mm-hmm.
know that that is impossible. But the
Right.
lack of a perfect strategy doesn't mean that we can't implement a strategy at all.
At all. I totally
And
agree.
that's where we usually find ourselves, is that we tend to look at responding to issues as a strategy for combating,
Yeah.
So now
when
you
really,
y'all know. I'm sorry, Perry. Y'all know just
go
because
ahead.
Perry brought all that back. I got to go back now
You
because a
gotta
lot
go
of
back.
people don't know. We're telling them the things to do, but a lot of times we need specifics.
Yep.
And that detailed thing is what I do. So here I go. Okay. So, your name is actually being signed to a covenant or a contract, right? So Pierce said we got to do more than just talk about it. We have to be about it. So
Facts.
you have to gather the people together and name the specific contract and its harmful clauses and state it clearly. We, the community, do not consent. This covenant signed in our name is unjust.
Mm-hmm.
Its terms are broken. So now you've made the hidden visible. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now you move to replace it. Don't just fight the old contract.
Yeah.
Build a new one in plain sight.
Right.
Create a community land trust to control the land. Form a cooperative to meet needs. Or draft a people's contract with the terms of care, not extraction. And that shows what you're for. Because your name was signed to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
So now you can replace that unjust covenant by building a righteous one right next to it and starve out the old system.
Yeah.
Mm.
100% starve out the old system.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and I don't
And
know if
that's how you
people.
do it. So Perry gave us the instructions, but I just had to go in and give specifics on how to get it done.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's how I see it. Being co-authors mean we stop waiting to see what they wrote
Right.
and show up with our own
Oh.
drafts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People's bills, people's charters, people's amendments, and just like you said, people's consequences, Dr. Campbell. You
Right, right,
come running out here, you gotta face the consequences of us because we are we are with you, but we are separate. We govern ourselves is what we're pretty much lacing y'all up about. And you know, it means tearing up our own scribes. training them up, tearing up the old ones and training up new ones. Because clearly, the senior scribes, some of them um, fell off. We just gonna say fell off. We ain't gonna bash y'all too bad. We just gonna say fell off, or just chose not to engage in community as thorough as you should have with the instructions that you got, especially knowing that you are the holder of the scribes. We can we reach out to those individuals who can read, who can write, and who can rewrite law, not just react to it. Right? We saw today at city council, and maybe within the past 48 hours, individuals not going along with what in an individual who represents them at the entire at-large city level, and I'm not talking about a mayor, I'm talking about an at-large council, throws his dissent and didn't expect the at-large population to come out and scold him for his dissent, right? Mind you, you're outside of order two, and you're outside of the scribe or the charter. Yeah. It means making it normal for folks from our zip code to walk into our city hall, or these state offices, state houses, and even in DC with language in hand. Give them preparation, not just pain in the heart or pain in the chest from anxiety, like Dr. Campbell said, because of things that they cannot understand. I don't know the process. Can you take me through the process? Some individuals got to be willing to hold out your hand and say, come, brother, sister, niece, nephew, I'll take you there. And many of us in our community have fallen away from that. So guess what? When we plead our state of covenant and you're not in it, that's your choice. If they can sign our lives away with the pen, we can sign protection, provision, and accountability in being what that same pen, that's co-authorship. You write your side, I write my side. And I guarantee you my side is just as legal and binding as yours. Segment discussion closing. So,
Right.
what's up?
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
yeah, yeah.
ahead.
I wanted you to get all of that one out because speaking on the issue that happened in the last 48 hours, I must say, as I followed uh, that development, one of the things that really made me feel good was not only uh, the people speaking out, but really uh, the first mention of the violation to the charter
Come on,
was
my
not cited by someone on council. It was cited by the people. And I say all that to say we can't assume that just because they are the elected that they are all known.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh,
friend.
first, the city councilman who
Hmm.
stepped out there ahead of himself was a blatant sign that he didn't know the charge.
Neither one of them.
The silence by his fellow colleagues until they saw the water getting hot was silent, which meant they didn't know
Correct.
the
Three of them.
charter as well. Yeah,
Three of them put that out there. Three of them put
yeah.
that out there. And if we can recall, while myself and many others were on the campaign trail, experience came into play. Now, if we could ask ourselves, how experienced did our Ward 1 council look? How experienced did our Ward 2 council look? And how experienced did our at-large council Williams look? And I have to say your name because I got two at-large councils. So I got to say your
Mm-hmm.
name.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now
may I
make that
also
make
add,
sense to
Chris?
us. Go ahead.
Yeah, may I also add though, even as we get past this issue,
Oh, it's coming next week.
yeah, yeah, but none of our council members have used the charter as their basis.
LaDonna
They
Sherwood
have
has.
tiptoed. What Ladonna
But I
posted
will
it.
say,
Ladonna,
I
right?
did hear you
Yeah,
say as your basis. As the
right.
basis.
As the base of this, we talked about every other
Yeah.
thing about the about the unethical approach. We've talked about the division. We didn't talk about the charter. We pointed it out, but we haven't
Highlighted it.
talked about it. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I expect that. I mean, not. And again, Councilmember Sherwood did present it, and she has been vocal about it. But
Very.
I also have to put that into the correct picture because we're dealing with what, three council members who are not even 6 months into the position,
Yes, sir.
and so it that that leaves a lot more to be desired. Because you're right, this isn't going to be the last time
Oh
we
no.
approach.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
The bar has been raised.
Oh no. No, not by far. So not by far. Now we come home a little bit. Street level, block level, backyard level. And I didn't invite all y'all to the cookout. Some of our neighbors are literally sitting on spiritual and historical fault lines. Now, this my favorite. This my favorite right here. This my favorite right here. And for segment 3, our topic is rebuilding the ark, covenants, corridors, and the new underground railroad. um, so like I said, some of our neighborhoods are literally sitting on spiritual and historical fault lines. Old black cemeteries under dirt and under and development. I recall um individuals saying, especially for Black and Indigenous people of these spaces, there was no such thing as a marked cemetery or a respected cemetery after colonization came about. So we have to understand that we are also living on lynching grounds with no marker, no confession, no repair. Once thriving Black business districts torn up from highways and industrial corridors or race riots, no insurance given, no business redevelopment into those spaces, flood washed communities that never got through or true recovery. Just a check, barely a check, or a shrug and a pat on the back, or altogether complete silence. They didn't get no receive. They didn't receive a check. They didn't get no response from their insurance company, from FEMA. They didn't hear from their church. They didn't hear from you who live next door to them. So we identify the conflict as um, dependence on systems that are also destroying us, like systems for food, systems for medicine, systems for safety, systems for jobs, and of course, systems for information. And at the same time, many of us feel in our spirit, in our bodies, that something is shifting. Storms, heat, unrest, shortages, political dissent, all of it is hardening the idea of how do we even come out from this. But we don't have to be we don't have to have a shared language or plan. That it doesn't have to happen. We feel the we feel the tremor in, especially from the colliding of the trains. I know I do. I don't know about nobody else. I do. I feel the tremor. I feel the tremor whenever something at the Port of Beaumont slams on the ground. I feel the tremor. I feel the tremor when the train blow for longer than 3 seconds. I feel the tremor. And so we've identified that at those things as conflicts. The causes. It isn't just the people that don't care. I want y'all to know it's not just those people that don't care. Covenant and local level breakdown shows us we left sacred sites unprotected, cemeteries got neglected, churches got politicized, schools were turned into testing factories or pipelines to prisons, and holding tanks instead of launch pads for future leadership, global competition, right? We let disrupt, we let distrust become culture, organizations beefing, churches competing over size, and never mind. Um, neighbors divided by colorism, class, party, or doctrine, or even religion. We shift from where we are in covenant to I'm going to get mine. I'm going to get mine. Uh, I'm gonna get mine. I don't care. It's me against the world. And then what happens? The block is spiritually and practically naked. No clothes. The consequences that we see every day are children who treat grief and violence as normal background noise. Elders dying with stories unspoken, strategies unshared, and authority unreleased. They dying in political seats, they're dying as the active pastor of a church. And mind you, there's no assistant, there's no associate, there's not even a youth man. All under that, this is this is rising dead. 100%. If something really jumps off, a storm, an outage, a crackdown, a ice, a shortage, we are not ready. If if Roy West was to say close everything and we on a 24-hour, I'm sorry, we on a 23-hour uh shutdown, we stuck. We stuck. The cure. This is where the ark building comes into play. And it looks like covenant work. We sit down and we write neighborhood agreements as a collective. And we write that as a collective around how we keep each other safe, how we handle conflict without calling the same systems that kill us, how we share food, and we share care in crisis. Um, it also is a discussion of what our spiritual disciplines are. I didn't say religious disciplines. I said spiritual disciplines, prayer, fasting, assembly, truth telling. We don't just hope for unity, we covenant for it. We promise for it. It's ours, it's a part of us. We do corridor work, like Dr. Campbell said in the last segment. We identify safe houses, resource hubs, trusted elders, trusted. medics, counselors, and drivers. We map how food, medicine, and information will move from and to, especially if phones go down, streets flood, police decide our area is hot and lock it completely down. I remember what last year we had, no, it was probably at the beginning of this year. Probably at the beginning of this year. Or maybe latter part of last year. But we had a shelter in place situation that was said to have only affected one particular area. Mind you, on this particular day, the wind was blowing high, so whatever gases that was released into the city or released, it didn't just stay in the area that received or the neighbors that received the shelter in place. So even in those spaces, we got to be ready. We got to be ready. That's an underground railroad for 2025 movement of life, not just escape of bodies. Covering work, we reclaim cemeteries, churches, schools, parks, and sanctified ground, identifying these unmarked graveyards. Identifying these unmarked graveyards with rituals, prayers, walks, namings, ceremony, markers, days of remembrance, with policy, zoning protections, landmark status, stewardship agreements, community benefits, deals that keep the land in righteous use. And Dr. Campbell told y'all how that happens through community land use process. Economic work, we build barter circles, not where I'm holding you your debt, but we build barter circles, microcredit, skill exchanges, tool libraries. We start shifting from our dependency of the same corporations and institutions that profit from our weakness. That's not that's not retreat, y'all. That's preparation. That is what revolution looked like before a shot is fired or a headline is written. Rebuilding the ark is not just about surviving disaster. It's about standing before the Most High, knowing we did not ignore the signs. We heard your voice. We took heed. We did not leave our people naked. We did not leave them hungry. And we did not wait for the empire to rescue us. Because, like I told y'all in a few episodes ago, they ain't coming. Dr. Campbell,
Hmm.
I'm gonna give you Dustin's shot. You ready
Okay.
for it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Perry, you can weigh in on Dustin's shot as well. Um, how do they? Let me pull up. Okay, yeah. Talk straight to the family. Watching who feels alone, burned by community before, and scared to trust anybody. How do they begin to participate in the arc building without being naive or putting themselves in extra danger? Go ahead, Dr. Campbell.
So they can start right where they are.
Hmm.
You don't have to trust a crowd. Look for one person of reliable character. That's enough.
Hmm.
And then number one, you observe. Don't join. Watch who shows up consistently for others, not just for the cameras or cloud. Look for the quiet helper.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Then number two, you start with a task, not a testimony. Offer help with something specific and tangible, a ride, a meal, research. Shared work builds trust slower but safer.
Hmm.
So, if you bring a meal to a person, like let's say maybe every Wednesday, you have 7 days in between there. So, and if one person in the community takes up to uh cater to a need of a senior, let's
Hmm.
say, uh, and one person takes each day of the week, at least that senior is getting a meal every day, and they're learning to trust their community.
Right. Right. Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody may need a ride or something, and you can build that. Even you use a phone tree and find out who's available.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, these are tangible things that can happen. That can happen. I'm not just saying them off the side of my neck. You can
Right.
guard your yes. So,
Hmm.
and what that means is you don't owe your story to nobody. You don't owe
Nobody.
your money. You don't owe your loyalty to anyone. A real community respects boundaries. If they pressure you, that's your sign to step back. Okay?
Yes, indeed.
So don't accept no pressure from nobody. You guard your yes.
Yes, indeed.
You don't have to be naive, but be strategic.
Mm-hmm.
Let trust be earned through action over time. Your participation is on your terms. Start small, stay grounded, and let the proof show up in your deeds, not in words. Trust but verify every single time.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Um. Oh, Dr. Campbell, you ready for your shot?
I am.
If we treated bodies, if I'm sorry, if we treated our blocks like holy ground again, what's the first work of repair, spiritual and practical, you believe we have to do on our land and at our sacred sites?
The first work is listening to the land and telling its full story. Don't let our history be erased.
Come on, Dr. Campbell.
Okay? I'm just saying. We cannot allow our history to be erased.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that means, somebody should be chronicling our history,
Mm-hmm.
listening, and somebody should be having our children to recite the history so that
Yes.
it's not lost. Then, okay, so practically you can find a true history of your block. Okay. Not just the glossy version. Uh, you can say who lived here first and what was
Hmm.
torn down, what
Yes.
struggles happened here.
Right.
Mark it visibly, even with just a sign or a garden stone. This
Yes.
grounds you in truth.
Yes, indeed.
Spiritually, before building anything new, acknowledge what was. Say the names. Grieve the harms. This isn't just ceremony, it's a cleansing. You
Yes,
can't
Queen.
build you can't build holy ground on buried pain. You must bless the truth first.
Indeed, Queen.
So start by knowing and honoring exactly where you stand. Everything else builds from that.
Yes. Yes.
How?
Yes. I mean, I didn't mean to poke in your eye on that. Good golly, man.
I did. If it hits you, I'm aiming.
What you say? Oops, yo bad. Move your hand off my finger. No, move
Uh,
your eye off my finger. Move your eye off my finger.
if it hits you, I'm aiming, baby. Believe that.
Perry, Perry, you ready for your shot? Golly.
Yes, sir.
From that planner and data brain of yours, what does a community arc look like on paper? What's the minimum list of roles, resources, and maps every neighborhood should identify before the next crisis hits?
Uh, to answer that, I really want to go back to something you said earlier. And we made a distinction between two important documents that often uh, come into our life. You talked about contract and you talked about covenant.
Mm-hmm.
And to some, those words may sound synonymous, but they aren't. A contract is a document that binds two parties who may not trust each other but find common ground.
Make it plain, Reverend
Come
Son.
on now.
And the covenant is between two who have found spiritual wholesome and agreement with each other.
All right.
Also, and we know the covenant. The covenant is signed in ink. Um, Something that doesn't really cost them. Most people will probably put more money into the pen than they'll put into the ink. Uh, but the covenant is messy. That's all heck. Because the covenant is signed in blood.
Yes.
It's
Mhm.
signed in blood because that is my life that I'm putting
Exactly.
as the binding sign that I agree. And so you say, where do we begin uh, in our community? And I'm not gonna go back through the whole ark issue. I really love the fact that you use the ark as a symbol of this because we often forget that Noah it took Noah what 600 plus years to build the
That's
ark,
what I read.
685. And so, can you imagine listening to Negroes for 685 years who have no understanding of what you're trying
Day in and day out.
to? And I know for that, I know the Lord had to close the door to the Ark of the Covenant because for this reason alone, if Noah, like us, would have brought people in, once the Ark settled on dry ground, them Negroes would have forgotten
Mm.
what you did for them because they not in covenant with you.
Yes.
Mm.
And so you
Yeah.
say, what does our communities have to do? I think, let me put it like this: Barton Chapel, West Beulah, Antioch, Mount Gilead, uh, Community, Paradise,
Cathedral.
Cathedral. They are religious nonprofit organizations
Mm-hmm.
legally because that's what they signed the contract to be.
Come on here,
Now,
Barry.
where they are missing is that these entities have a congregation that's made up of membership. At best, now I don't think you have to sign for that. You don't even have to get baptized. You can just be a member. Uh, but where the church is missing and where we are saying, well, where's the church is because the church is not in covenant with the community.
Bam. Bam. And
The
vice
church has
versa.
been making a lot of contracts. They've been
Mhm.
signing a lot of contracts and put up a lot of buildings. They're
Yeah,
signing a
Barry.
lot of contracts to say, let's do a campaign, but they have yet
Mm-hmm.
to get in covenant with the community.
Man.
Got to
We don't
evangelize
need to
them.
stop it right there.
Man.
We don't
Ooh.
need data. We can see that. We
We can
experience
see
it
that
every
one
day.
in plain view. That camp, you got something to add to that?
Mm-mm.
I'm sure
He
you
covered
what
it.
you say, he covered it
He
all.
covered it.
Yes, he
Covered it.
did. Yes, he,
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Yeah,
he
you got to
did.
evangelize that community. If you don't,
You do.
.
You really do. You gonna give me my shot, Dr.
And you
Campbell?
know what? Maybe that's something that needs to be looked up, evangelized, because we often use that
So
word.
we're gonna see if Dustin could carry that
Ooh,
definition. Cause you know he watching. Dustin is watching. So
okay,
Dustin, your word for the week next week
is
is
evangelized.
Evan,
evangelizing. All right.
In plain language, What does a new underground railroad look like in 2025? Not just for escape, but for survival, healing, and rebuilding.
Hmm. I mean, I like this shot because it's a current shot. It's there's it's some good new nane. And in
2025.
2025, a new underground railroad looks like a web of people and places that are already ready to move,
Right.
especially move what empire neglects to attack or attacks. And in some cases, that looks like people, information, food, medicine, and money. It looks like houses where sacred teen or I'm sorry, a scared teen, a released prisoner, or a um, threatened organizer can land without being exploited. Right? It looks
Mhm.
like churches and community centers that are more than Sunday spaces. They're cooling centers in heat waves. They are changing stations in blackouts. They are feeding stations in scarcity. They are doctors' offices when we can't even get to a therapist. These are drivers who know back routes um, and are willing to move elders, supplies, or vulnerable folks quietly when things get hot or things get troubled. Healers, healers from licensed therapists to old school herbalists, um, including um, holistic doctors and holistic medicines, especially of what our ancestors understood.
Mhm.
Um, we agree to make themselves those individuals to make ourselves agree to make ourselves available um, on a rotation or like a shift, especially when people are breaking down spiritually and mentally. We have to be willing to connect with those individuals. Everybody that we see walking up the street talking to themselves is not crazy. Some of those individuals are actually pleading the blood of Jesus. They may be praying on their way to somewhere. I remember hearing somebody say, many of us, and this was on a Sunday, many of us passed up church heading to the sanctuary. And
Mhm.
over all of that, it's covered in trust agreements. We don't expose people's locations, right? We don't sell folks out for clout. We don't play with this work at all because it's 100% serious. Lives are saved and or demised at this work. So you can't just think, well, yeah, I'm good because I know Dr. Campbell. No, Dr. Campbell is not the community. She's part of. And she invited you to be part of. So either you join by being a steward of truth, first and foremost. It's not about running away, y'all. It's about quietly building a parallel network that resembles one of care, one of survival, and one of defense. So when the official system cracks, our people aren't left to die, right? Flashpoint for this particular segment is if your neighborhood had to function for 30 days with no outside help, no city, no state, no Fed, no FEMA, what would collapse? No Cajun Navy. What would collapse first where you live? Type in the chat one for food, 2 for medicine and elder care, type 3 for safety, or type 4 for communication and information. And if you feel led to, tell us what you wish your community already had in place. Again, if your neighborhood had to function for 30 days with no outside help, no city, no state, no fed, what would collapse first where you lived in your opinion? Food, type 1, medicine and elder care, put 2, safety, put 3, communication and information, put 4. Anybody want to respond to that? Know your rights. You have the right to to form neighborhood association, co-ops, block clubs, and mutual aid networks with or without the city's blessing. The state did not invent community. We did. You have the right to defend and to steward cemeteries, historic sites, and community spaces. That means pushing for landmark statuses, easements, community benefit agreements, and policies that protect holy ground from predatory development. Y'all remember the graveyard in the north end on Pine? The one that they was trying to rip up? You heard it. You got the information now. So being that that graveyard is marked and was marked when they was trying to diminish it, demolish it, and erase it, we got to be extra on our p's and q's because if we if we recollect a while, that is one of the only Buffalo Soldier grave identified burial spaces. Now there are several Buffalo soldiers buried throughout all of Beaumont and Jefferson County. I even saw a Negro Confederate soldier in Orange County. And this cemetery is also overgrown. So we have to definitely be stewards, rightful stewards of what we have. Again, you have the right to train your people in first aid, conflict mediation, self defense, and spiritual disciplines. The same thing that we just mentioned. Preparedness is not paranoia, it is stewardship. Hear me well. Um, Roundtable question for our local topic is if we accept that no empire is coming to save us, what does a righteous, just, disciplined community led revolution look like on our block? Not in fantasy, but in the next 6 to 12 days, weeks, and or months. Dr. Campbell, you have the floor.
Okay, so in 6 to 12 days, you can map your block. Who has skills? Who needs what? Set one regular check in, a porch or a group text. Now share a meal. It starts with seeing each other.
Hmm.
That's in 6 to 12 days. In 6 to 12 weeks,
Hmm.
pool your resources. Start a tool library or a community pantry.
Hmm.
Form a neighborhood watch that actually helps instead of just policing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Draft a simple block pack for mutual aid. Who can cook? Who can fix a leak? Or who can give a ride?
Yeah.
So then in 6 to 12 months, you can launch a small tangible alternative, a community garden on a vacant lot, a rotating savings club to bypass predatory loans,
Yes.
a known trusted mediator for local disputes instead of calling 911.
Hmm.
Okay, the revolution is doing what the system won't together. It's not a storm, it's building a shed in the rain, one nail
Hmm.
at a time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Perry, you have the floor.
Okay. I'm gonna take what Dr. Campbell has said, and we're gonna apply those to our own. 6 to 12. The next 6 to 12 days, uh, we get a lot of information. I come in to sit at the round table, and that's just really a seat. Uh, because I get to come in and learn along without one. And I can say I'm never disappointed when I sit at this round table. So to ask that question of our audience, and Dr. Campbell gave some really good examples. I think we need to embrace those and show our audience that as well. Uh, so in the next 6 to 12 days, I want to begin to understand what our audience doesn't know about their community or what they want to know.
Yes.
We share a lot of what we know, and we're just thankful that we have you to help lead us, Chris. We have the other individuals that sit around this table who bring a wide breadth of knowledge. So much so that sometimes we tend to think that we really don't have anything in A because what we think is just
Yeah.
common knowledge, and that's really treasure for someone. So we have to really get beyond ourselves to understand it. But I really want us, for our audience, to really truly embrace it. That we want this information too, and we want you to partner with us
Yes.
in this. We don't want you to just be a listener. We don't want you
Right.
to just soak it in. You have valuable information that we don't know. And in the next 6 to 12 days, I want to begin to find, I do know, and we're going to really start looking at it for us to really engage our audience better, to get your feedback, your input,
Yes.
because we give so much data away each day. From the time we wake up, Chris and I was laughing the other day about just how much data we give away for free. Well, not for free. We pay to give it away. We
Yeah.
are
It's
paying to
paid.
give data away on ourselves, and we not even trying to give data for free ourselves. So we need to change this paradigm and not just talk about it, but begin to put it in motion. Those are things that I think that we can do. It's not people start thinking, oh, it's going to be a lot of money. It's going. No, it takes time.
Yeah.
All of
It
this,
takes time.
all of this that we talk about in terms of the shadow government. The shadow government, whether you like them or not, they've been putting in the time and putting in the work to make their vision come. But
Hmm.
we have to put in the equal amount of work.
Yes, indeed.
Uh, as it relates to this, because there's so much that distracts that when it comes to time to deal with meaningful things, we usually find ourselves tired, uh, needing a vacation, trying to get away from everything because we don't want to do it. And that's just built into the design. Let's keep you in military parlance. That's psychological warfare. Let's keep
Correct.
you off balance. Let's keep
Correct.
you worrying about your worrying about one thing, and then once you find out that thing wasn't what you thought it was, now they give you a new worry or they give you something else to find fear in.
Yeah.
And this is the new place for a society that for the last, you know, really I would say in the last 50, 60 years has grown exponentially. America's
Yeah.
grown exponentially
Yeah.
in the last 60, 70 years, so much so that I think that growth uh, has has retarded our common sense.
Yeah. Tony, Dr. Campbell's in the backstage.
And so yeah, so in the next 6 to 12 days, let's put together. I want to put together a way that we can engage our audience, and reach out to our audience, and really begin to have our audience engage us beyond this platform, so that we can
Absolutely.
put this good information that we hold.
Absolutely. So what that's going to look like in the coming days to our platform host and to our listeners and viewers at the Knowledge is Power podcast live and the growing Roundtable Talk family. We'll definitely be throwing some things out on the platforms that we have so that we could engage or garner that information from our listeners, viewers, and individuals that follow us on all platforms. So be ready for that. We'll be uh, linking up with Tony so that we could get that information out on all platforms that the Roundtable Talk Show is on, as well as the Knowledge is Power podcast live it presents. And so, um, I, I don't know, Tony. I don't know if you're still in the studio, but Dr. Campbell's backstage. um, Here's what I believe. Of course, like Tony said, it's just my personal perspective from the information and experiences that I've had. And I would definitely like to take not only the discussions that we have at the round table um, at to a larger perspective or a larger identity. Um, but this is definitely one of the ways that we're going to do it. In the next 6 to 12 days, we identify who is on our block, exchange phone numbers with neighbors we can trust, and commit to one small act of covenant, maybe watching out for someone others some for someone's child while the parents at work, maybe a sharpened pantry shelf, uh, maybe a weekly prayer or a weekly check-in, right? 6 to 12 days, 6 to 12 weeks. We map one corridor: who can cook, who can transport, who can treat basic injuries, who can translate documents, who can read contracts, who can host spaces, who can clean, because we're gonna need somebody to clean. And then becomes our first that becomes our first arc blueprint. Um I had to read a comment from Dr. Campbell. In the next 6 to 12 months, we push one concrete protection into reality: a neighborhood association's charter, a no idling zone at the school, a cemetery protection ordinance, a community benefit agreement tied to a local project of some sort. Revolution isn't just saying no to empower, it's saying yes to the systems we build in its space or in its place. That's what a righteous, just, and disciplined revolution looks like to me. That's just to me. Now, we, like Perry said, we definitely want to engage you, our listeners and watchers, on every aspect as we possibly could. But before we close, one last quick round from everybody, and then I'll ask you all for something to give us something to close us out for the rest of the week. But name one concrete assessment or concrete assignment you feel called to personally in this season. Is it teaching, organizing, documenting, healing, guarding, resourcing? Whatever it is, let us know. And then name one invitation to the viewers, um, one first step they can take this week to move from spectator to co-builder. Dr. Catherine, welcome back. You have the floor.
So maybe we should break these different roles down so that people can fully assess what we're expecting of them, or what's expected of them in these roles. So, right. So teaching, they can pass on practical skills like fixing things or growing food or managing money. So the community isn't dependent on outside systems, right? Um, some people may even know how to set up a credit union. They may
I got her
know.
in my pocket. I got her in my pocket.
Okay, so see, that's what I'm saying. That's something that we can do in the neighborhood, right?
Exactly.
Practical skills, are very important to the community. So
Yes.
organizing, you can turn concern into action, matching needs up with help, setting up meetings, and keeping the work moving forward. Some people may be good at that,
Hmm.
so that we're going to turn to that person for organizing.
Right. Right.
Documenting, recording what happens. We know some people who are avid historians.
Hmm.
They keep minutes, they track resources,
Hmm.
and tell communities the real story so no
Hmm.
one can rewrite it.
Exactly.
So those people are very important. The healers, the healing people, like you said, addressing trauma and conflict,
Hmm.
providing emotional, mental, and spiritual care so people can stay strong and engaged.
Right.
That's very important. Guarding. Oh God, we have people that walk the community, that they're very protective of the community. They protect the community's peace, the
Right.
people's peace, and the progress.
Hmm.
This means de-escalation, safety plans, not setting boundaries, no, not just locks or cameras. So, these people, we can call on them in our community, as we said earlier, rather than calling the police, right? Resourcing. Those people will strategically gather and manage what's needed: funds, tools, food, and connections. They
Yeah.
make they make sure that the work is possible and sustainable. Together, these roles build a self-reliant circle, one that meets its own needs and protects its own and heals its own.
Hmm.
So, my role, I believe, would be teaching, passing on practical skills. I love to grow food, and I'm a great manager of money. Now, I don't know how to set up a community bank, a community credit union, but I'm more than certain I could learn and I could
Yeah.
teach the skills. I could pass the skills on, and I'm pretty good
Absolutely.
at fixing things too.
Mm. Come on. A jack of all trades. Plus, she know how to do hair.
What?
She is fluent in the arts. I promise. I don't know if y'all have ever talked to this lady personally, but she has an imagination out of this world, and I love it. I love it. I love it.
Not
Perry.
just imagination, baby. I know how to work it.
Yes, indeed. Oh, she brings that thing to life. She bring that thing to life. Perry, go ahead.
May I also add, Dr. Campbell, that we do need nosy people. They're a
Oh,
great resource. We
okay.
need nosy people like
Those are the guarders. They're guarding people's property. Yeah. They
She say
they
we're gonna give them a profound name, not the nosy ones. We
no,
should
they're
call
not
them the
nosy. They're
gardeners.
guarding the community with a safety plan. And they're making sure
community
that the boundaries are
community
respected.
informers, community what
They are
what did
making
they use
sure that the
community?
boundaries are set. Okay?
Right. Yeah. We can even go back real old school.
You
Yeah.
muted.
We
You
can
muted, Perry.
call him
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
town crier if we want to.
Okay. But we're going to set them under the heading of guarding the community because they set the boundaries and make sure the boundaries are respected.
He got dropped too.
I'm just saying.
Oh man, that's what you get for calling people nosy.
He coming back.
Oh man. While we wait on him to come back up, um, Tony, could you please make sure he's not backstage? Um, I definitely want I definitely want to thank y'all for see you back. Go ahead, Messy Marvin.
No, I'm just saying there's room at the table for everyone.
For
And everyone
everyone.
has a skill.
Absolutely.
And
That's
everyone
right.
has a skill.
Even the guy at the that's hanging out around the store, as long as we give him some water to wash his hands, we'll allow him to handle the pit.
Right.
You got to give him more than a little water.
None, no, no, no. Well, yes, yes, we do.
Wash him with hyssop. What?
Okay, okay. But
Cleanse me.
everybody in the community is important.
Everybody,
Absolutely.
everybody.
Absolutely.
No one should be overlooked. I totally agree, Dr. Campbell.
Right. No.
Go
No,
ahead, Perry.
and of course my role, Chris always talks about me being a data guy, but really I really see my role as helping those who are treading away to give them better insight because your role is leading. Everyone has a role, but at the end of the day, like I said, someone is always looking at us and keeping count of us.
Yeah.
Whether we want to call that big brother or the man or whatever, our efforts are on wide display, and it is just it's poor stewardship of us not to use the advantages that we have. And and I like to say all the time, I work in an industry where people pay me handsomely to find out information. I end up having to fight the community I love to even get them to start trying to look at the information
Hmm.
that can help us. And so, it's just it's my cross, not complaining, but always trying to find ways that we can collaborate because we're in this data age, and just like we talk about, we need plumbers and we need electricians. We have to understand that there is a data component that is very much a trade level. And if
Mhm,
we
Yes.
can begin to teach our kids
mhm.
that trade has a value, unfortunately, it's always the seniors that's always trying to get the kids to do a Facebook post and oh, you can get out there on X and that's not using the children's skill. That's using one aspect of what they know, but we've not brought them into the fold such that what they can provide is adding value. And so that Campbell, I'm with you on the teaching. We have to teach our young people that they have a skill now and that skill has value in the community in which they live and thrive. And unfortunately, the community hasn't asked much of them.
Hmm.
But as we move forward, we've got to ask them and include them and not push them as the elders used to do us to give them a handful of flyers and go stand out on the corner and pass out the flyers. No, these kids are engaging. They have uh they, they know this new environment that we uh rely on. And so why can't they build their skills in the community in which they live and thrive?
Right.
As opposed to as what happened in my case, you go outside to learn a skill, And for most of us, we never come back because once I've learned it outside and I've applied it outside, why do I need to come back?
Come back. I totally agree. Dr.
So
Campbell?
then, so then let's extend an invitation to the viewers. A first step that they could take this week to move from spectator to co-builder.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So,
When you had got dropped off, that's what Perry was talking about, creating avenues where we could engage our listeners and viewers, right? So go
so
ahead.
I have some.
Uh-huh. We see.
Of course, why not? Huh? Okay, so this week, we can walk our blocks for 1 hour. Don't just pass through and observe, you know. So we can take note of an empty lot, an elder that's living alone, one skill that you have that can help. Then tell one neighbor what you saw and ask, what's one thing we could fix together? That's
Yeah.
it. You've moved from spectator to scout. The
Yeah.
building starts with seeing what's already there. So
Yeah.
take an hour.
Just an hour.
It's good for your
Just an
heart too.
hour.
Taking that walk
Yeah.
for an hour is good for your heart too.
And that same nosy neighbor Perry mentioned, they going the third time you come around that block, they're gonna be like, "Hey, baby, how you doing? Who are you?"
What you doing? Uh huh.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, Dr. Campbell, give us something for the rest of the week. Perry, you follow, and I'll close us out.
Okay, so I'm going to say that a builder doesn't just hear truth, they put it into practice. Your block is your rock. Start there, build there, and what you build will stand.
Exactly. Exactly. Awesome. Perry.
uh, in this season of Advent,
Mm,
um, take time to nourish and prepare for the birth of what's to come, even if the current environment is
it
not
look like it.
accepting of what's to come.
Yes. Yes, indeed. That's
So
prophetic right there.
obstacles are included in this week, however they may come, how persistent they may be. But that obstacle is there to help nurture and prepare you for the birth of what you are of what's about to come. You are the vessel. You are the
Yes,
vessel.
indeed. Yes, indeed.
Mhm, mhm,
Come on, don't abort the baby, he just said. That's what I
mhm,
heard. I heard it.
mhm.
Man, family, tonight we have done surgery. You understand? Pre-op, post-op. We've done surgery. We didn't just talk about elections and headlines. We talked about the false prophets and paid narrators who keep this empire's spell alive. The state level contracts and maps that function like spiritual covenants against our own people. The local breakdown of covenant, memory, and protection that's left our neighborhoods exposed. But we also handed you tools, the language to name the spirits that work, the questions to test every voice, every policy, and every contract, the first steps to build arc, corridor, and covenant where you live. The veil has been torn. We can't pretend we don't see. And if you do, we're going to call you a liar. So this week, ask yourself, what lie have I been agreeing with that I need to break covenant with? Who can I lock arms with so I am not doing this alone? What is one ark building move I heard that I can make in the next 7 days? However small, to protect and prepare my community, my people, my block. You are not crazy for seeing what you see. You are not weak for feeling what you feel. And you are not powerless unless you decide to stay that way. Um the veil has been torn, y'all. Name it. I'm Christopher Unc Jones. This is the Roundtable Talk Show. And on behalf of Dr. Campbell, Perry, and Dustin, and our platform host, Tony Renfro, and the Knowledge is Power Podcast Live, we love you. We're in this with you, and we're building too. And remember, stay prayed up, stay prayed up, stay prayed up. Thank y'all. God bless. Have a good night.